welcome Beyond the Racing Line, the Formula One podcast by fans, for fans. The Canadian Grand Prix has been won and run. And, yeah, there was a poor old little groundhog that copped it. There was a different race winner for quite a while. We haven't seen a different race winner for quite a while like that. But it was a good race weekend. I'm joined by Tristan Pocock. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate.
How are you?
I am excellent. How are you? Happy race week.
Yeah.
I was said to City on Friday night. It crept up on me.
It did.
I felt very underprepared for the weekend.
Yep.
Anyway, luckily, it wasn't an absolute belter, so I don't feel bad for not being up and about it.
Oh, okay. But as in, like, you weren't prepared for a good one.
I wasn't prepared for a race because it's just appeared on me out of nowhere. And then being that I was so underprepared, I thought, geez, I hope this isn't a 10 out of 10 weekend because I'm sort of, I'm rushing in.
You got to work your way into it.
Like I do, when you're at Aldi and they're throwing things down the aisle, and you're like, hang on, hang on, I'm not ready.
That's not an analogy.
It's a little bit. That's how I was. Anyway,
and we got Shane in the headquarters. Hello, Shane.
Evening, gentlemen.
Yes, no Sam today. We've running the three.
And it's nice to see Shane not looking like a clown like he did last week. Very professional. Like, the pink earphones have passed.
Oh, yes,
the silver.
I see.
Like, he's looking a little bit more professional here. Because this is a professional outfit.
Is it?
Yeah, I like to think it is.
Okay.
Actually, he was going to wear me a Collingwood beanie.
That would have spiced that.
I thought that might have spiced up Roger a little bit.
That's all right.
A bit traumatic for him to see that.
We nearly got an opening question around some sports around that, but I've got a different one tonight.
Good.
Did you notice how Shane went straight into Sam's seat?
I did, actually. I did notice
There's
that.
a little bit of conflict between the seats.
Yeah.
And I like this.
Yeah.
I like this.
I don't really care.
How do you feel? I
like this. It feels like
it's when you arrived.
Feels like it's on. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Do you feel good in there? Like, do you feel like that's like your rightful seat? You know, when you go and sit down at tea, we had friends over for tea on the weekend, and I was for some reason booted to the far end of the dinner table.
Oh, and you were
there was space. Because I've got a spot, but it was 3 people at one end. Then there was 2 vacant seats, and me right up the end. And I'm like, what am I doing up here? I wasn't like, do you feel good there?
No, it doesn't really worry me.
Look happy.
I don't have a particular seat, and I sit down at home, and I get in trouble if it's the wrong seat.
Got a real twinkle in your eye.
Yeah, I'm the same. I try and change up the seats where we sit for dinner, and people get all upset.
It's not right. Even on the couch, I've got a spot on the couch.
So I took the next step further when I was redoing the dishes in the pot drawer and the dish drawer. I moved the bowls from one side to the other side. Yeah, it did not go down very well.
That's big. That's a big play move.
Anyway,
we got all the goodies tonight. So Tristan's having a few little technical issues.
I'm all right. I'm back.
I'm
back. But you're right. Ever since the coveted $3.50 notebook has disappeared.
Yep.
But we're right now. I'm all over it.
Okay.
Technical.
So we will have all the goodies. I promised correctly.
Yep.
Before we get into it, though.
Yep.
We're going to start with an opening question. Before we get into that, race ranking for the weekend. Shane, let's start with you.
I'm going 7.
7, yeah.
Canada's usually one of those ones that was quite interesting. This just didn't quite have that interest level until maybe the last few laps.
Lap 67 in particular.
Yeah, well, big talking point, that one. So, about a 7.
Talking point.
7.
Yeah. It surprised me that the lack of ability to overtake amongst the top runners. Because there was some overtaking further back, but there had to be a real differential of tyres and speed, didn't there? Usually it's not so difficult, but they seemed to really struggle to close, didn't they?
They just seemed to really come off that last hairpin and not be close enough. And then that front car seems to get that bit of traction, and that was it. Yep.
There's a little kink out of that hairpin, which I've never noticed as much, but I think it does play a part in that. Anyway. For me, 7.5. I quite enjoyed it. It's an enjoyable race. I like Canada. You, over there?
I don't know. I wasn't really all over it. There's 6.
Okay.
6. I think 5's probably unfair.
Yep.
Because we had a couple of moments. But outside of that, wasn't nothing to write home about for me personally.
It's funny when they're in the green, when the drivers in the cool-down room before they go onto the podium and they play through all the highlights of the race. Yeah. That was over very quickly.
It was. There was not a lot of highlights to refer back to.
Yep. Who has the pace? in general?
Oh, just in general.
Well, who has the pace? Well, I like to ask that question, and sometimes it's a null and void question. I think it's quite useful at the moment. Who has the pace at the moment?
Oh, I think I'm going to start leaning a little bit more towards Max now.
So Max over McLaren, in general.
Yes, in general, not.
Jeez,
much.
you are
not by much. I'm sticking to my guns with him this year.
Yeah, but you stick to what's just happened.
No, I had him
flop about
the episode 1 prediction
and you've dropped him about 6 times. You've dropped him every race since then.
Absolutely have not dropped him.
So you reckon Max is the fastest?
Yeah, I think Max is the
out there at the moment.
Yeah, but geez, it's
as in Red Bull, but with Max in it.
Red Bull with Max. Max is Red Bull. Yeah, so by like a thousandth of a second, it's not much.
Over who?
Over McLaren.
Then
Mercedes. Then Ferrari.
Okay.
Yep.
Shane?
Yeah, I'm just still McLaren. And then Max. And then the Mercedes, followed by Ferrari. Ferrari and Mercedes seem to switch it around for the last few races. Early on it was always Mercedes, and now Ferrari had a couple of good races, and then now it's sent it back to Mercedes, I reckon. And Williams have sort of dropped the ball a little bit, unfortunately, which is hurting.
Yeah. I don't think they were ever expecting this one to be their track, though, for Williams. Yeah, I think they've had a couple of tracks that haven't quite suited them yet, and they'll come back. For me, McLaren has still got the edge. They just seem to be a more rounded outfit than everybody else, more consistently. Then I reckon you can throw a blanket over the rest. I really do. I don't think that Max is faster than the McLaren, than the Mercedes and the Ferraris in terms of that car, not necessarily talent. So I think, depending on the occasion and the event, it was interesting to see Mercedes could get the job done and it wasn't cold.
Yeah,
that was an interesting point because
yeah,
that's generally where they fire. But yeah, so anyway, just before we do go on, the race is moving to early May.
Yeah,
next year,
same weekend as Indy.
Yeah, so race moving to early May. This year, it was 2 degrees in Canada at Montreal. How are those cars going to go if it's 2 degrees next year in this time?
2 degrees?
2 degrees. And so the locals said, look, it can be 2 degrees. It could be 15 degrees and quite sunny and feel quite nice. For me, 15 degrees still sounded a bit chilly for us. But yeah, 2 degrees. How are those cars going to go if they they moved the race to that time? If it's that cold.
I would expect if it's 2 degrees, like, you're going to have ice and...
Well, you don't quite get ice, but...
I would just predicting like what it's like here when it's 2 degrees. Like things are frosted over. Like it's pretty cold. I don't know.
It'd be interesting with the batteries.
Yeah. There'll be all
more battery power next year.
Can they fire up those tyres? Are they going to bring different tyres for it? So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Yeah,
snow tyres.
Yeah, but I'm all for it. I love the idea of changing it up and making it difficult, not making it normal. But yeah, so with the geographical changes with the new calendar next year, this year. When they're going to be running it next year, 2 degrees. So that'll be an interesting watch.
We're a bit earlier too, 6th to 8th of May, which is nice. So
it's a long weekend.
It is a long weekend, actually. So that's nice that we're not only are we still first, which is our rightful place, to be quite honest.
Yep.
But yeah, we're a little bit earlier, so possibility of a wet weekend is non-existent.
I'm down with going slightly earlier.
Not
long
having to
weekend.
run home.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, I used to have to take some days off afterwards just to find my feet. But yeah, so no, it all works out well. Let's get to an opening question. We've gone a little serious too quickly. It is the premiere of the F1 movie has been, I think it was last night or
this
morning in our time. So last night their time. And I'm interested. What's your cinema etiquette or game plan when it comes to snacking while watching the movies at the cinema? What's your go-to food at the cinema?
Yep.
And do you have a strategy around how to eat it? For example, I love to get a slushie. Love to get a slushie when I'm going in there. And I don't mind a bit of popcorn. And occasionally, I'll get an ice cream. But if I get an ice cream, I've got to eat that ice cream during the previews and the ads. I've got that eaten and out of the way, and then it's popcorn and slushy for the rest of it. Do you have a game plan, Shane, when you're in the cinemas?
Used to always be the Maltesers because you used to be able to throw them around a little bit when you were younger and sort of a little bit less immature. I've grown up in the last year. Yeah, but even then, you sort of sneak those in nowadays because the
cost.
The cost of that stuff is amazing. And they also have the bags you fill up there now, and they just cost the earth. So you're sort of shoving things in your top and things like that.
I like that. Have you got a go-to, though, now that you take in?
No, probably just a packet of snakes. Or still getting Maltesers because of that sort of tradition.
Yep. Tristan?
Jaffas for me.
Jaffas?
I really like Jaffas, yeah.
I don't know anyone who
really
gets Jaffas. My mum used to when we were kids.
And I'm okay with just blatantly walking through with food in my hands. Like, I'm not trying to hide it. Like, it is... I mean, there's no sign on the door that says you're not allowed to bring your own food. So, as far as I'm concerned, like, it's...
So, how far would you take this? Would you take in, say, a Subway roll?
I've never really... thoughts never really crossed my mind.
What would you take in?
It'd probably just be lollies. I couldn't take hot food in.
Okay.
Like, we talked about Gold Class pre-show. Like, that's different. But, it's just snacks. It's exactly what I'd snack on at home, to be quite honest. Like, I don't go full lunch meal or anything like that if I'm watching a movie at home. It's just a snack.
Yep. Okay.
It's just a popcorn. I do popcorn at home.
Do you order the popcorn from the desk, though?
Yeah, but I'm not a big popcorn eater at the movies. Like, I'll have a small one.
Yep.
But, I mean, like, it's more, I'll eat it just because I've got it. Like, I don't go out of my way. At home, I'll deliberately go out of my way. I'm like, I'm going to...
I won't eat popcorn unless I'm at the movies.
Okay.
I have no interest unless I'm sitting at the movies. I like a popcorn.
I'll eat it with H when he wants it. Have a big bowl and share it. But but it's really just Jaffas and just a Coke. Or if I take a hot drink into, like a coffee or a hot chocolate, depending on how cold it is. But that's it. But I'm okay with walking in. Like, I don't try and just line my pockets and be like, oh my God. Do you ever wonder where all that popcorn goes at the end? You see the guys with the vacuums?
Oh, yeah.
And the bags?
There's these bins.
Where's it go? Does it go back in? Does it?
I wouldn't have thought so.
I can't imagine so either. But it's just, you see them, they're there. They're like little Ghostbusters on the stairs, ready to go. So I'm so excited to vacuum stuff up.
Well, they've got to get them out. It's like a pit stop.
It is.
They've got to get the cinema cleaned and ready for the next one.
I'm sure people feel obliged to drop popcorn on the floor deliberately because otherwise those two people are out of a job.
I don't think so.
Imagine walking in with two vacuums and a clean cinema. You'd be like, God damn it.
Yeah,
quick.
We're out.
Make a mess.
Yeah, well, that's true. Just go in with your own popcorn.
Yeah, go in. Maybe that's what their bags are. It's pre-vacuumed popcorn so they can keep their job. Well, we're on to something here.
Conspiracy theories.
Gone early. We've gone early.
It's going to be one of these episodes. It was a great qualifying session. We saw McLaren really on the back foot. We didn't think that they were necessarily in the hunt through most of the practice sessions, and then they entered qualifying and still didn't look like they were absolutely ripping it apart. And then, we saw Lando make mistake after mistake after mistake. Really needed to be coached through his lap, and they were coaching him through his lap, and he was really struggling with that. And then, we saw George. Well, we saw a really close contest between Oscar and Max. And then we saw George go and trump them both by quite some distance, and it was a nice little reminder of George's talent, I thought.
Yep.
Because sometimes he can be the forgotten man. He's the man that collects all the points after everybody else, but he was the main man this weekend, and it all started with qualifying, and it was a ripping lap. And an excited George is an annoying George, in my opinion. Does anyone else feel that?
Yes, yeah.
He's an annoying,
absolutely
excited man.
Yeah, no, he is.
Yeah, he doesn't do celebrations very well.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the same can be said about Oscar. He doesn't celebrate at all.
No, well, so at least he's not annoying about it. Like George sort of feels forced. Come on. And it's like, it just seems, I don't know, it's a weird one.
The uncool person trying to be cool.
Yeah. Whereas, at least Oscar's like,
Oscar's openly just is openly not cool, which makes him cool.
Yeah. Well, that's very true.
I did love George's comment, though, to the interview straight after.
Oh, it was brilliant,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I've got more points on my licence, so...
Yeah, the dig straight away at Max. I thought, oh, God, here we go. And people have really taken it personally. Lots of people think that all the drivers are trying to goad Max into making mistakes. And, it was good. There was some character in him there. I quite like that part. But he's, such a peculiar character, I find, George Russell. I quite like him. But he's a Drivers Association president, or key person, what do they call him?
Yep.
And he's the man that sticks up against Max, but then he's the first person to go and sook about anything. And then, when things are on fire, he seems to be, everything's just perfect. He seems like a typical Formula 1 driver, actually, now I think about it. But, I did enjoy the qualifying session. I was quite impressed with Charles Leclerc being able to turn it around.
Especially after missing FP2.
Yeah, 1 and 2. I mean, it was
but he did a couple of laps in one and then binned it and then totally out, which was a whole new tub as well for him. So, that was good. So that's probably more for him. It's a bit a case of what could have been.
Yep.
Because he dropped it out of the hairpin there too. So,
he seemed to perform quite well.
Yep.
In it, I wonder how good he could have been.
Yeah.
It felt like there was still a little bit there.
Well, his qualifying lap wasn't actually as good as his practice 3. So
Yep.
And let himself down.
And Hamilton out-qualified him, which is probably a sign that things weren't going well for him, because if Hamilton's out-qualifying him, he knows things aren't going well.
Yep.
But, so it was a fairly significant crash too, wasn't it? Change over a chassis.
It was enormous, wasn't it? And
even if they got the car ready, they weren't allowed to run it. And I didn't realise this was a rule.
Yeah, because it's a totally new part. It's not a like for like.
Well, it's because the FIA stewards don't come and check all parts. Any time during the day, they do it at the start of the sessions, and then they won't do it again. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I wonder if that would be the case between practice 3 and qualifying.
Well, if you think about how many front wings they have out the front of the garage, just ready to go, you've probably got a couple of.
They've all been ticked off.
You've got floors out the back, but having that whole new fresh out of the box,
the chassis
as well.
Yep.
It's kind of technicality, isn't it? It is a brand new one that we've not seen.
Yeah,
but it was. They probably didn't expect to be using it in all honesty.
Oh no, obviously not. So but anyway, I didn't realise that was a rule. I sort of, I thought they did turn them around a bit quicker than that sometimes.
Yep.
But anyway, getting into the race, it started with a really strong start from Russell. Verstappen's start was fine. Oscar had.
Antonelli's start was terrific.
Had an okay start, but Antonelli, managed to get a decent enough start and managed to just find track position. Oscar was sort of blocked at one point by Max, which meant that he had to hold out. Then he didn't really. You could see that Oscar was part of a championship drive because he didn't want to push the envelope with Antonelli too much around the outside, and then. Yeah, we saw him lose that position. I sort of thought, you know what, that's what a good champion will do. They'll drop it, understand the rest of the race is coming, I'll go and get it back. Lo and behold, he never went and got it back, did he?
Didn't. It was, you expected a few passes. I expected him to get past Antonelli.
Just never really. It was like they went into tyre-saving mode really quickly, which was probably a real knock on this race. Everyone seemed to go to tyre-saving mode particularly quickly. It worked really well for us. Was it last race, where we saw 3 stoppers? Was it last race?
Yeah.
It worked really well in that moment where we saw 3 stoppers versus 2 stoppers. This one was the opposite, but we saw them just in conservation mode and still needing to make the 2 stoppers. So, we didn't see that offset quite work the same at this track, unfortunately, and they went into tyre-saving mode.
It seemed like they were actually going to try to push Oscar down the one stop.
Yeah, at one point.
It was like, why would you do that at a track that's got such a short pit lane or short time in pit lane? Go for the better tyres.
I've noticed a bit of a change in McLaren in the last few weeks about how they go about racing, when they're not as strong at the beginning of a race, but they seem to have a better back end for probably the last 3 weeks. I think they're finished incredibly strong, and I think their tyre deg and their general overall wear is a lot better.
Well, I think that's where they think they come alive.
I think that's something we could probably start looking into over the next few rounds, and is that going to be the new way that they're going to go racing? For the
that's their known.
For the second half, I think,
they're not. People aren't necessarily thinking, and we've seen this trend through qualifying. They're not necessarily faster than everyone else. The car just handles a bit better, which means they don't get all that deg the same as everybody else. So.
And I wonder if that's a little bit of thinking behind what Oscar did, because you're right. I thought it was a smart opening stint to just realise that actually there's a lot more on the line here. I know that I'm going to finish stronger.
Yeah, but didn't get a benefit from it.
No, because it was on, but then it was off, because he looked pretty okay and pretty comfortable up the inside.
But then, so usually if you're doing that, you're going to try and offset somebody, but they didn't get a much longer stint. I think it was 1 lap longer than one of their rivals. And it wasn't really that beneficial to them in the end, because they realised that everyone was lapping faster on the new tyres, and it was just, it was causing them some drama, so they had to go and pull the triggers on it. But yeah, I sort of thought they must have got that one wrong, not to push a bit harder, but hey, it's hard to know, isn't it, how the race is going to unfold. But overall, like what we mentioned, George, we need to talk about George first. Really strong race from George. It was the race that George probably really, really needed, because we've talked about him being that man that picks up the scraps, best of the rest, up the top. But yeah, it was a dominant performance across the weekend, wasn't it? And maybe we've seen that Mercedes has got a little bit more on top of things now. Do you think, Shane?
I think so, because Antonelli was, in and about with it. So I think they are looking a lot better, which is great.
Yeah,
to have that extra.
Yeah, we're probably now at the point of the season where we thought we were going to start the season when we were talking about the season last year, if that makes any sense. I was predicting a really close championship this year, because we were seeing all those cars start to converge to be really similar times, and I think we're starting to see that now. I think McLaren got the jump on everyone. Now we're seeing them all converge. There'll be maybe one or two updates to come, which are all in the pipelines, but nothing more than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fingers crossed. I think we'll probably see a close rest of the season. As teams understand the car, we might see them getting the most out of it.
Yep.
Antonelli, let's talk about Antonelli. We go through the teams.
Super.
Yeah, talk about it.
Super drive. I thought it was... I don't know, just grabbed every opportunity that came his way across the weekend, didn't he? His practice times were fantastic. His quality was excellent. Sort of threw it down the outside and hung on to that third position. Then just sort of, like he was saying, scampered away with it a little bit in probably the opening and then middle stint too. It wasn't until the end that he looked like he was going to be caught. I kind of feel like he would have been, to be honest. But yeah, it was a really immature drive. We've been talking about that his last few rounds have been where he's probably at. That the opening rounds were a lot fortuitous and a lot of luck on his side from where he finished. Then he came back to where he was, but this was a standout round for me for him.
Was it his first podium?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, first podium.
Okay.
Third youngest podium sitter at all time.
And isn't it funny, one of those names that's above him on that list?
I know, it's Max and then it's Lance.
Max and Lance.
And it's him.
And Lance.
Yeah, Lance.
Was it Lance's win?
No, it was his third. It was his third in the Williams, I think is what it was.
Lance hasn't had a win. He's had a pole, not a win.
Yeah,
he's had a pole.
He's had a pole in the Racing Point.
Yes,
he's had a podium in
right.
the Williams.
I think
Do you have two in the Williams? I think was it Baku?
I'm not sure. Yeah, one
was
was Baku.
I want to say Baku was one.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, look, a real out of the box, real mature, real talent, just raw talent drive. I thought it was.
Jeez, he's a likeable character too.
Yeah, he's terrific too.
He's a likeable guy. You can't help but smile when.
I tell you what, I saw an Instagram reel of him getting absolutely mugged after the race in Canada, just walking down the street of just people, just flocking to. In Australia, he was unknown, really unknown. Like I was able to approach him effortlessly on Thursday in the paddock and got a couple of things signed, and then. Yeah, he was swamped, and you could tell he was really overwhelmed. He's like, "Oh, this is a little bit more full on." So yeah, he's becoming quite a personality, but a super weekend nonetheless.
Yep. Max in the Red Bull wasn't really expected to be a Red Bull track, but Max always brings something else out.
Yep.
And yeah, he performed quite well. I say it wasn't supposed to be a Red Bull track. I think Red Bull's pretty good other than medium corners, so it probably does suit him pretty well, but he did his job. I was interested and surprised to see that he wasn't able to close that gap on George. Wasn't like he was getting anything done there. It's just these cars just seem that like if you are out in front, geez, it's hard to chase you down in that.
Well, the new McLaren front wing, which is what been dubbed the mermaid tail, which is creating those vortices coming off the front wing now. It looks like there's going to be a couple of others that are going to do the same, so maybe that's going to have that effect with that,
in terms of following.
Yep, in terms of the following, like we saw a couple of years ago where it was the vortices coming off the rear wings that was creating that dirty air. So maybe there's been a few tricks found out too.
Yeah, but anyway, no, he wasn't able to close the gap. We have to go to Sonoda next. Sonoda
Did he race?
Yeah, he finished in 12th. Yeah,
he actually did make up a few places, but
yeah,
it's not going well.
Is it a what was his issue through qualifying?
Well, it was an overtake under red flag.
Oh, that's right.
Which was a blatant.
Oh, that's right. So he got a 10-second penalty.
Got 10-place grid spot.
Sorry, 10-place penalty.
10-place grid spot, which put him back. And we look at Behrman's from early on in the year, and that was line ball. This was like, I can't remember who he passed.
Oscar.
He passed Oscar. Oscar's in front of you by about 50 metres. Red flag board is going. 6.5 hours pass, and then he just drives past him. Like it was the most blatant of either not paying attention, not switched on, just absolute lack of awareness as a slam dunk. So I love Yuki, but I've got zero sympathy for that one this week. That is just an absolute balls up, and to be hit with that 10-place grid penalty is unnecessary.
Do you think Oscar was lucky not to be penalised for driving a damaged car that far back?
No, because
we've seen a few cars.
It was it wasn't in that really. I looked at that and I thought that's not an incredibly dangerous state for the car to be in, and that's the thing they've looked at when you got bits falling off it. There's that potential for debris to fly off into another car, and it didn't sort of for me fall in that category.
There was someone that had a similar. And their team told him apart.
Lance Stroll wanted to come back because he nicked the ball.
It's very similar.
Yep, and he said, bring it back. And then Gary Gannon came on the radio and said, no, mate. But he argued the point. He said, no, but I can bring it back. But Gary Gannon said, no, mate, that's the rules. You are not permitted to bring it back. Go and park it. So he parked it in front of the Stroll grandstand with his,
one friend.
3 or 4 fans that are there. So anyway, that was, a high return.
So a fail for Yuki this weekend.
Yeah, it has to be, doesn't it?
I mean, qualified 11th.
Qualified 11th. The penalty is just, it shouldn't have happened.
Qualified 11th's not a pass, though, is it?
No, not
Thank you.
really.
Qualified
11th's not a pass.
Sure.
Not a pass.
Yes.
The penalty shouldn't have even occurred in the first place. I mean, if it would be a 49 out of 50 for me. He still failed.
Oscar Piastri finished in 4th position. It looked like it was going to be a very small points gain on Lando for the championship. Or it could have even been like a 2-point loss to him, because it was looking very close at one point. And then, they went into that tyre-saving mode at the start of the race, didn't they?
Yep.
Then I was just waiting for the race to come to him, and I think it would have come to him. In the end, traffic right towards the end got right in the way. I wasn't blaming them or anything like that, but traffic got really busy as he was trying to hunt down Antonelli towards the end.
Yep.
And I think he would have actually caught Antonelli and got him, because Antonelli's tyres were absolutely cooked. He was sort of saved by the traffic and then the incident.
I reckon they both would have too.
Yes, possibly. But, so he sort of, the race was coming to him, but then it just didn't quite happen. And Lando really benefited from the traffic, the way that it was appearing.
Yep.
Once again, it was what it was. That's racing for you. But, and then it looked like Lando was right on top of him. He'd just gotten DRS to try and defend Lando. And then Lando pulled the move. And, we've all seen the incident. For those people who haven't seen it and only listen to the podcast for their Formula 1 viewing, Lando went for a gap that wasn't there and ended up cooking himself. Could have very easily taken Oscar out of the race too.
Yeah, he took them both out, didn't he? Yep.
Yeah, thoughts on the incident or anything else that's been mentioned?
Silly move. Silly place. I'm not sure why he didn't duck to the other side.
I don't know whether he thought, he just assumed that Oscar was going to cover off a little bit more in the middle.
I think he went to the correct side. I think going to the other side, he would have been open to turn 1, but then turn 2 would have been squeezed, and Oscar would have had that run like Antonelli had on him in the first lap around the outside. So the positioning was correct. I thought the racing between both of them was exceptional up to that point. Yeah. Like it was the first time we've seen, probably this has been the most aggressive racing that I've seen between both of them.
The over-under in the hairpin in the lead-up to this was cool, wasn't it?
I thought it was spectacular. It really does. And I really believe that there is a real harmony between both of them. That it's not aggressive.
Yeah.
And it is so respectful between the both of them. And I think that's a credit to the team.
I think if either of them would get snotty, it would be Oscar over him.
Yeah,
Lando just seems to be.
I can't, and I know the media, and we want to see it on social media. That blow up, that real push towards it. There will be an explosion.
Oh, see, I don't want to see it.
No, but I don't feel like there's going to be.
Yep.
I really don't. And then you see the after in the presser where Lando just comes up and he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry," and I was just like, "Hey, it's all right. I ended up all right. Don't worry about it." And I really honestly believe that's how the relationship is. The team have obviously done a huge amount of work behind the scenes to make it harmonious, and we'll see incidents on track throughout the year.
geez, there was a lot of people critical of Lando.
Yeah, nah, I really, like, even in the moment watching it, I couldn't be critical of him.
No, I was a bit the same. I was like,
just,
you know what, they're racing.
Yeah.
The key was to try and get them napping.
Yeah.
Lando actually did manage to do that leading.
And
into
I thought
hairpin.
in that moment too, between the two of them, that Lando was by far quicker than what Oscar was as well.
Yeah,
like he just looked, for all intensive purposes, at the faster car.
Well, I still think that the traffic sort of sorted that part out,
Yep.
but yeah, it was interesting. I didn't probably if Oscar had crashed out and Lando had kept going, it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
It was. I'm with you. It was a good battle. I wasn't crazy critical on it all. Shane,
I'm actually a bit disappointed in Oscar's performance for the weekend. So I think he looked like he's gone back to that Oscar that chewed up his tyres, because Lando was that much. I know the traffic pulled him back, but when they were nose to tail, he wasn't controlling the car very well at all. Whereas Lando was right. He was getting under the wing, whereas something that Oscar couldn't do to Antonelli. So I'm a bit worried going forward. I'm hoping that.
No, I wouldn't be too stressed.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of people saying a similar thing to what you're saying there, Shane. I wonder if we're getting a little bit critical or a little bit like overzealous with our analysis of what he does on a race weekend. Because fourth is not awful as a race weekend, but is that off the back of 5 wins out of the first 7 or 8 rounds, 9 rounds, and then suddenly it's that expect. Because, I mean, if you look back to last year, if Max wins the opening 5 rounds and then finishes 4th, we're probably saying the same thing, going, geez, didn't Max have a shocker that weekend? But it probably really isn't. And
worst Oscar weekend for quite some time?
Nah.
Monaco.
No.
Monaco.
Where did he finish in Monaco?
Well, he was on the podium, but he didn't look very comfortable.
He was nowhere all practice. He was nowhere at all practice, and he pulls it out of the bag in qualifying to rip out an incredible lap. And George's perfect lap, which was a perfect lap for George.
It was. And then you've got Max, who does just freak.
And Max was in the same thing, and we're not seeing that McLaren faster in qualifying at the moment. It's not a faster qualifying car. No. For me, it was like an incredibly impressive turnaround for Oscar.
Yep.
And then, you got, I mean, an Oscar that wasn't in that championship hunt pushes that first corner harder.
Yep.
And I think he made the championship move in that corner. I thought it was a pretty decent race weekend, particularly considering where he came from. I thought so
too. I think he's approaching the driver's title in a very similar way to what Max is this year, whereas it's just, I will score the maximum amount that I just truly believe I can, and it'll be minimal risk in every way,
only
shape, and form.
Only race not on the podium other than Melbourne?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty impressive.
And I think we'll see that on those really off weekends. It's if I can get 4th or 5th and that's all I can get, then you know what? I'm not going to throw away whatever I can take now for one more position up the grid. And I think I look at Max and what he's doing as well, and I think he's doing the same thing this year.
Still incredibly close at the championship.
Oh, absolutely it is.
It was... 22 points. There's not a lot in that.
And
so,
you can balance between Mercedes and Ferrari probably on those race weekends as to who's going to be that third team or that outlier that's going to disrupt really what is the battle between McLaren and Max at the moment.
Yep. We mentioned Charles Leclerc did some damage to himself in...
Before we go on to Leclerc, I'd just I hope Nat heard that. Monaco.
Oh.
Now, taking the feedback on board.
Nat Pollard, the feedback has been heard loud and clear.
Remember the other week?
Shane's
this won't affect me.
Elocution has been perfect. What's that?
Remember the other week when he's like,
I don't care.
That doesn't affect me. I don't care.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Just
yes, that's true. Yeah. He's calmed down now.
Sure, it doesn't.
Yes, yeah. Oh, well done, Shane. Well done. Feedback is a gift, as we were explaining today. Charles Leclerc,
He's from
as
Monaco.
we said, he is, yes. He binned it and turned his race weekend around, out-qualified by Hamilton. But then sort of probably an okay race. Wasn't really in the hunt, was he, for anything decent? Was he closing the gap, I think, towards the end?
Towards the end, it seemed like he was.
Yeah, yep. Got around Hamilton, but Hamilton had a little...
Well, Hamilton killed a groundhog and then was incredibly emotional about it after the race again, because I sent footage of Gasly killing the Was it the rabbit?
I don't know.
A couple of weeks ago in Imola. He just disintegrated this rabbit.
Yeah, no, Hamilton was quite emotional. But but it actually did do quite a lot of damage to his floor.
I can imagine.
I
can imagine a groundhog.
It was only little, but it did quite a lot of damage to his floor. And so anyway, it made the car quite difficult. But it's sort of he was having a better weekend, Hamilton. I mean, he's electric around this joint. This is his track, isn't it? So, but he's having a better weekend, and then that sort of came undone a little bit because of that. He sort of lost a bit of pace because of that issue, and then it sort of fell apart again. But I was interested to see there's a big update coming at Silverstone, and there might be something else coming next round, and so we'll see where they come out at. But I don't know that they're overly confident about all those updates. So
no, well, I mean, we've had the Ferrari flash, and I think we're just back to where we are.
On the day they'll be competitive.
Yeah,
I think is what we can expect.
I mean, it's sort of the opposite. Like Mercedes, we had a couple of weekends where it was it was just gross.
It's a real knock on these cars that something like that obviously is going to do damage, but the underneath of the cars are so vulnerable.
Yeah,
and it makes the driver look like he was miles behind. You're thinking until you knew that the amount of damage, it sort of ruins.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it does.
I don't think they were ever in the weekend though. Like, to be perfectly honest, outside of that, no session whether threatened.
It's probably just whether he could outrace Charles. I guess is probably more what I was watching.
But they were still just like that again. Outside the last couple of weeks, this is just where they are. They're just no man's land.
Till the safety car was about 22 seconds behind.
It
Charles.
was they were.
Fernando Alonso picked up 7th. 6 points for the man.
Well done to anyone who brought him into fantasy. I certainly did. Yeah, look, everyone's hands up.
No, I got him last week when he picked up his
That's
first
great,
points.
22 points. What a man. So, I mean, what did he cut the deficit to Oscar this week? Because we talked about it last week.
He
gained 2 points on him. So
no, he didn't gain 2 points on him.
This week.
This round.
No, fourth is ahead of...
that's right.
So Oscar got 12, he got 6, so he didn't lose 6 points.
No,
that's what you're trying to think.
He only lost 6 points to him.
So it's on.
Game on.
It is
it's
on.
Game on.
We're getting to almost halfway, so halfway in the season.
You never know.
There's been an attitude change for him too.
Understandable. I've noticed an attitude change.
He's a little bit more.
Too.
He's a little bit more chatty. Yeah, you're a nicer guy again.
Yeah, it's good to
a little bit more chatty in press conferences. I think a few people have sort of said, "Look, you're representing the brand. Pull your finger out of your, and then let's get on with it." So it's nice to see him back a bit. I didn't mind his little cheeky dig at the team talking about this isn't testing. But anyway, his mate Stroll retired. What else did Stroll do for the weekend? Anything else?
What did you make of?
He hit the wall, yeah.
And it was such a slight little...
Yeah, so was Oscar's.
Yeah, and just the way his front wheel just went bang.
Yep.
It was like...
What did you make of the secrecy around the return? The hand in the pocket that was well publicised, the real sort of... The don't ask me,
don't ask me questions. I'm not interested in the press conference at your home race.
Yep.
Just it's his general, I'm a twat demeanour.
I thought
was it attention seeking?
I don't know. It was weird. Because I mean, like if you look at Sainz and Albon with appendages out, and I respect that whole medical, privacy or whatever. But you ask the question to them, and they're like, yeah, that's fair enough, and it's a cheeky selfie. It's like, yeah, I'm in hospital, whatever. But then this, for what was reported, is just a pin removed. I don't know, it was weird. It was a very...
He's just an incredibly precious rich man, isn't he?
It's just a very unusual approach to just, and I sort of felt like, what are you hiding? Like, are you trying to make it...
Something?
A lot worse than what it kind of was to sort of, in a way, save face to what was reported in the end of the blow-up in the garage. If that occurred, because there was a mechanic that came on social media and openly said, absolutely no way this did not occur. So, I don't know, it was weird.
It's bad parenting. I mean, it's bad parenting in that if you mucked up like that, your parents would probably punish you.
Yeah.
I got put on the bench playing footy because I'd been tweeted at home. Why doesn't his dad just bench him and say, look, you've been a bad boy?
Well, that's all we want to see.
And then put Dragovic in and we'll be happy.
Dragovic went to Le Mans in the end, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. Stroll, you are a bad parent.
Yeah. Chloe Stroll was there, my favourite Stroll.
No, I didn't.
The sister?
Yeah, yes.
The wife of Scotty James. Yep. She seems like a good value. No, it was poor. Hulkenberg, 2 points in a Sauber.
And I said, didn't we say last week, let's have another one of this? Awesome. Awesome. And Bortoletto, nothing to sneeze at either. Like, I know he finished, where did he finish, Shane? It was like 14th or something like that. Again, you don't usually get up and about at 14th, but whatever they've put on that thing is working.
Which is nice, because we didn't think they were going to put anything on that thing.
I don't think they thought they were going to put anything on it either.
Hang on,
something.
What's this? Someone made something. Let's put
it on.
I'd like
to know what it is that they've put on it.
Ocon, 2 points in 9th position. A bit of a forgotten man, Ocon, in Formula 1 at the moment, isn't he?
Outside of the retrospective livery, which I loved as well, by the way, we didn't talk that.
Sorry, who did it?
The
Haas
200th
did they actually?
Race weekend went all the way back to like the
very first.
Yeah, it looks very similar.
Hang on.
All the way back to the first one.
All the way back.
All the way back to the
2
first
years,
one.
No.
Yeah,
all the way back.
All the way back.
7 years?
Something like that. Yeah, it looked it was the exact same.
I didn't even notice.
They all look the same. Anyway, I loved it. They're the forgotten team at the moment, aren't they, Haas?
Yeah, they have been a little bit after being
the forgotten team.
And he seems to be moving through the field.
Yeah. But it's just in a real nonchalant sort of way, isn't it? It's just, what are you doing in 9th?
Where did he qualify?
I don't know.
He qualified, I can't even see, 15th.
15th, oh yeah, 15th into
So we probably
ninth.
should be a little bit more up and about that. But again, it's just done in the most unspectacular way.
Behrman 14th, and that just seems to be a bit of a thing at the moment. Behrman's out-qualifying him.
Yep.
But he's just not quite putting it together.
Are they the first crew to start packing up shop for 25?
No,
we're not really realising it yet.
No, I think there's plenty of crews that are doing that. I think Williams has just gotten lucky with their package that they've delivered.
Have they?
Well, not lucky. They've put together a decent package that's worked for them.
Well, 2nd and 3rd in practice 1 or whatever.
And so they've seen that like decent season unfold, but they're not going to be doing too much to it. It's all about understanding, I think, for all these teams at the bottom. They're not bringing too much. They're not developing too much. It's just more understanding about the packages they've got.
Did you just quote Williams as a bottom team, did you?
Well, it's one of the bottom teams, yeah, absolutely. The bottom, out of the first half of the season, yeah, absolutely they are. All those teams are.
Good. That makes me feel good to hear that.
They're in 5th spot, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, well, anyone outside the top 4 are bottom teams as far as I'm concerned. So I just feel like they've got it right. They're going to be a little bit further ahead for most of the season. But, yeah, as Haas's season, I mean, they were your big watchers, weren't they?
I thought they were going to be the 5th or the ones that were going to push the envelope here. But, it has not really turned out to be that way, has it?
Anyone else you guys want to talk about outside the top 10?
Hadjar a bit nowhere.
Yep. Qualified okay, though, didn't
Qualified okay, just sort of nowhere. Lost in TNF. Williams, I thought, had a shocker this weekend too. Just did nothing.
I think we actually have to give Colapinto a little bit of a...
It's a little bit
Franco.
better.
A little bit of a pat on the back.
Yep.
I think it was that comment you made on Facebook, bagging him, saying, he's going to finish last again, and he's turned around.
Gasly decided to finish last.
Yeah, Gasly. It's the wrong Alpine.
That is not about Colapinto at all. This is... All my comments to Alpine are all about Alpine and their together team posts. I cannot get my head around them.
Now the Jack's gone. They're being
that's right. Yeah, that's right. We'll support them all the way through. Colapinto, I agree. He had a decent run. I think Gasly had a major issue in qualifying, which is why he was so far out qualified. But it's credit where credit's due. He performed okay. I'll give him that.
Yep,
but I won't give him anything more than that. Anyone else?
Well, it's
almost
the whole field.
Signs picked up a point. Yep. And he seems to be on track, and then something brings him undone at the moment. Signs. It's
he was out in Q.
But it was looking fast. I can't remember what it was in qualifying this time, but there was something unusual, and then. Yeah, it's like he used to be such a consistent performer for Ferrari. It's just we're not seeing any of that consistency at the moment for Williams. All signs 3, 2, and 1. Who are your points going to?
3 to George.
Okay.
Jeez, we're thinking too much alike, Tristan.
Okay,
Dr. Obviouses. Okay. Yep.
2 to Kimi.
Yes.
Yeah, and 1 to Hulk.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind that. I'll allow it. Okay. I'm not going to say it anyway.
So I'm going 3 to George.
Okay.
Fantastic. Great weekend. I'm going to go 2 to Hulk.
Yep.
And I'm going to go 1 to Alonso.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a bit of love.
That's nice.
It's a bit of love from you
I
there.
think it's mainly because I put him back into my fantasy team and he's delivered the goods. He was in there early in the year and I threw him out.
Okay, all right. I'm going to go 3 to Antonelli. I thought it was a fine performance from him. 2 to George because it was a very strong drive. And yeah, I'll go 1 to Hulkenberg. I think Hulkenberg with that race. I think Ocon was unlucky not to get one. Yep. I thought Ocon drove really well as well.
And one more from Hulk would be nice. Just another good bag of points next round. We're off to,
good for F1.5, I would have thought.
Very good for F1.5.
If he could pick up those
Very
points.
good for F1.5.
Moving into Dud of the Day territory.
Dud of the Day.
Oh.
Yep.
Come on.
I'm going to go with just a real late mail Dud of the Day. Real late mail. Probably just only come through this morning. The F1 movie is happening, or the premiere has, sort of finished in, where were we? LA?
I don't know.
Was it LA? I don't know.
I wasn't able to attend, so I didn't bother looking.
Was it New York? New York.
Oh,
and I looked.
I looked at the address. I wasn't able to attend.
No, I'm no fashionista at the best of times. I like my comfortable clothes. But the way that those that attended that dress looked like they had a court appearance on Monday morning with a suit that was about 48 sizes too big. Yuki Tsunoda looks like a child in his dad's suit at a school production. It was atrocious. It was about 50 sizes. You could fit 5 Yukis in that suit.
Well, I actually thought about giving Danica Patrick the hero of the day because she looked like she was multitasking by doing a commentary and she was ready for the Formula 1 movie on Sunday.
It was real. It's shocking. It was terrible. These blokes get paid a lot of money and they can find a suit that fits them because they were terrible. They were terrible. Yuki's in particular. So it's Yuki's Taylor who gets my Dud of the Day because
that's an out there one.
It's really poor.
I nearly had that as my opening question. What would you wear to a premiere? Because I saw
slippers.
I saw George was wearing something very similar to Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay.
So anyway, no, it's the it's Yuki's suit.
I think you got it right to start with that whole comment.
Yep.
I'm no fashionista.
No, correct.
If any of them are wearing it, I'm telling you right now, they're fashionable.
No, they're not fashionable. Have you seen it? Are you going through?
I'm having a look. I can't find Yuki.
Yeah, I'll find.
He's behind everyone. He's at the back, is he?
He's on the ground.
You got a Dud of the Day for me?
I have Sky F1.
Oh, good.
Because how can you bring in Danica Patrick, Nico Rosberg and Jacques Villeneuve on the one weekend?
Well, Jacques wasn't working for them, though, was he?
Well, they had him on TV
for
a bit.
Oh, did they? I missed that part. He was, I think, yeah. Yeah,
I did hear his voice, so...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's got to be...
That's horrible. Yeah, that's a horrible combination.
And it's got to the point where everyone else seems to hate Danica. And they just pay out on her. Like, the blokes...
Yep.
She made a comment about it being an easy track. Rosberg just went and bang, knocked her down straight away. Surely they've got to see that nobody liked working with her.
Or watching. I don't have a problem with Danica as such. I just have a huge problem with her lack of knowledge of Formula 1. She knows about racing.
Yep.
She's absolutely done heaps of racing. She just cannot bring anything to the Formula 1 conversation, which is Formula 1 in particular. Rosberg asked her for an example of when she's, I think it was got in a tussle with another driver, and her example was so far away from what Formula 1 would allow or would ever be. It may as well be somebody out like us talking about it. It just... her F1 knowledge and understanding is just so far off what we need as an expert. Maybe if she was a presenter, it would be different because she's not trying to be an F1 expert.
Yep.
But she's just not an expert.
So you could throw in another role, keep her in the job.
Possibly better presenting skills. I don't know. She's a bit prickly. People don't, like you say, people don't tend to like her. You need someone who's a bit likeable, like Simon Lazenby's quite likeable. Natalie Pimpkin, people seem to quite like. Rachel Brooks, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a strange one. For me, it's a toss up between Rosberg and Jacques Villeneuve. Rosberg managing to absolutely say that Oscar Piastri wasn't going to be any chance in qualifying because he'd been so far away all weekend, and then lo and behold, he was right up there in qualifying and nearly took pole position. I'll give him credit because he came out and apologised when he was pulled up for it.
Apparently, actually went and apologised to Oscar.
Yeah, and so I'll give him that credit. The thing I've realised with Nico, what I don't like about Nico is he was such a unique style of driver, and he applies all of his shortcomings on every other driver. So it was always about, if you got done in a practice session, I would lose my mind. And it would ruin everything, and you'd be asking questions, and you'd be trying to work it all out, and that's what all the drivers are doing. I know lots of drivers who couldn't care less if they're done in a practice session because they know what they're working on. Yep. He just applies all of what he was as a driver on all the drivers, and he cannot see past that anyone would have a different style to him. Well, he won a world championship.
Jacques Villeneuve does the same thing. This is
exactly.
This is what I did in the 80s, so everyone does it.
Yep. And that's the thing with both of them. They just think that everyone operates the same way as them, and they can't see that they had huge limitations as drivers. One world championship, fantastic. You did it in such a unique way. Apply that knowledge. What I did is I got in Lewis's head. I made sure I was close enough, made sure we could make enough connections, and that's what I did. But that's your limited. Like that's where you go to, and then don't apply the rest to everybody else. So anyway, yeah, they're my duns. I think we've done them plenty of times, haven't we? Max was very close to getting one.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's still Suki Lala in interviews. I don't want to talk about my race ban. Well, don't get 12 points on your licence, dickhead.
You know what?
Is that not fair enough? Is that not fair enough?
Nah, I thought it was fair enough.
Tom Clarkson in the interview brought it up with him. He goes, this is just childish. People are just hopeless. Why do they keep bringing it up? Because it's a talking point, Max. You've gotten to the point where you're nearly going to get a race ban.
I'm pretty confident. I'm going to say 80% confident. The two of those points ticked over and were reimbursed. Yes.
Yeah, so no, he's sweet now. He's sweet now. Yep.
Look, I can understand. I can understand his frustration with that questioning because of the way that he has been treated by Sky in the past. And did you see that interview?
This was Tom Clarkson.
I can still
F1.
see his frustration with that and the way that the media have treated him with some of those questions. Did you see Ted's questioning of him and one of the new team members in relation to the rules and regulations, and where Max came out and said, "You're not to be targeting individual people," and he really got up and about at Ted. And I understand his frustration because there's history from the media with that kind of questioning for Max. Some of it warranted, some of them not.
Hang on, tell me a time where it's not warranted.
How many times do you reckon he's been asked that question with really, when you dig down to it, the media wanting him to get that point, like that real sort of drama, like we want you to get that point because we want the headline. It's like when a coach gets touted before they're sacked because the media want to sack him before.
He's an aggressive character. So of course he's going to get the extra questions.
Fully understanding with his frustration on that one.
Yeah,
understanding.
But paid how much money?
That's okay.
To sit there and answer the question.
That's
Don't
okay.
sulk it up because they're asking you something that you know is one of your weaknesses or one of the things that you know you've done wrong.
Do you know George swore in the presser?
Yeah, well they come out and announced that they're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah. Isn't it like a 50%?
They've relaxed.
They've relaxed it.
Like
Yeah. So no, for me, it's just like, let's go back to that. Let's just go back to the fact that, come on, Max. You're in a very fortunate position. Just because people are asking you questions that you don't like doesn't mean you can sulk it up.
Answer them once properly and just say, I've already answered that question.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was the official Formula One thing. It was on everyone's lips. So you've got to ask that question for the fans. I've got a hero of the hour.
Yep.
I'll give Lando Norris the hero of the hour.
Oh.
How often do Formula One drivers come out and accept complete blame right from the get-go and get all their apologies out straight away?
Charles is very good at that.
I thought Lando did a great job of just saying, I'm so sorry, guys, that was me.
That was all my fault.
Just getting it all done and wiping it off the floor. Jacques Villeneuve managed to try and blame Oscar for it.
I saw that.
But that's okay, because Jacques Villeneuve knows more than the driver. But no, I liked his approach with that. It was nice and refreshing to see that happen, because we don't see that from drivers all the time. So I'll give him a little hero of the hour for that one. And Nico Rosberg gets my dud of the day and a little hero of the hour for his apology.
I would like you to start taking tallies of how many times you note Nico as your dud of the day.
Well, he started it.
That'd be good. I'm just saying, it's just a
Yeah, you started with 3 of them. You started with 3 of them.
Okay.
F1.5.
F1.5, the greatest championship in the modern era. Last 2 weeks ago, remember 2 weeks ago that we said if Alex Albon took the win that he would be promoted. Well, it's all just...
You have mozzed him.
It's all fallen away. All right.
Before we get there, actually, we haven't mentioned the drink. As we drink around the calendar of the Formula One.
I'm actually enjoying it.
And, so I was going to ask, how do you enjoy the drink tonight?
Yes, all right.
We've got Canadian Club and Dry tonight.
It's not beer, and it's not some sort of strange... Really, like, what I can really boil down to is just a type of petrol that you serve. If it's not a beer or a cider or this, I can just relate to all the other drinks as just pure petrol. There's no other way to describe it.
Would anyone like another one?
I don't know another one. I'll definitely have some more chocolate, that's for sure. But I'll just nurse.
You happy with that
I'll
one?
just nurse through this. I'm happy with this one.
Shane.
F1.5. Let's go in random order, and then let's go 4th, 3rd, and 2nd and 1st, because I can do whatever I feel like. Let's be honest. All right. Colapinto, 20 points for Colapinto.
How many Jack end up with?
Jack ended up with 19.
Oh, so he's done him in already.
So he's got him.
How many races?
In 5.
No. I have to take it all back.
He's got him by 1.
I take it all back.
He's got him by 1 in 5.
The man's a prodigy.
He brought 8 points home this round. He had none last week, and he was... sorry.
My
apologies. It's in 4 because that's the fastest lap column. So he's done it a round early, and he's got him by 1 so far. So now the question moves to, in 2 weeks' time, as to how many will he beat him by, because he's done it. So anyway, Colapinto with 20 points. Liam Lawson with 67, bringing home just the singular point this round. You've got Bortoletto with 2 donuts in a row. I love donuts. 20 points for Bortoletto. You've got Hulkenberg, who's making a real run of it at the moment. 25 and 18. So he's up to 86 points out of absolutely nowhere. Doing on 19. That's 2.
That's 2.
Oh, no.
You said you've never seen someone not be able to open a can. Well, there it is again.
I've never. And this is any type of can.
No, this is...
I have never seen a can fail to open in my life.
Yeah,
and
so
it happened pre-show with Shane, and now you've done
There's
it.
obviously a failure. This one seems to be a bit... I don't know, it's in a bad way. Anyway, you continue on. I'm going to go open up the can.
What are you going to use to open? As I said, I've never failed to see a can open. How do you fail to open a can?
Well, it's faulty.
How is the can faulty?
Well, because it looks like it's actually corroded on the little thing and snapped straight off.
Corrosive alcohol we're having this week, so we are having petrol. Good, I'm excited for that. Gasly, 91 points. And Alonso on 87. He takes the win for the round this round. 87 points for Fernando. Stroll with 2 points, can you believe it or not, finished on 51. And then Bamman takes home 10. As I said, an unspectacular 10 from Hulk. What are you using over there in the on the studio bench to open that? A hammer. There it is. You just heard the crack. Fantastic. How'd you go there? Look, you're a man of many talents, aren't you? Brilliant. Brilliant. Bamman on 80 points with 10. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, because your man, Alex Albon, well, both of you, because you both love him.
Yeah, we are. We're on board.
Yeah, it is another, it's another choke. It's another weekend of choking, because no points for Alex. 2 weeks ago.
Who's leading the championship?
Well, Alex is. But
okay.
2 rounds ago, he was ready to be launched into the stratosphere of Formula One and never to be seen again. And he's just fallen flat on his face. So he leads at the moment, yes.
He does.
However,
I'm just checking, because it sounds like you think he's not going very well.
I'm just saying, there's a reason now why he wasn't promoted. Hadjar did not do what he needed to do and take a big chunk of points. He took 4 home for the round and finishes on 135. So he's in 3rd place at the moment. Then we've got in second place. Sorry, he's in 2nd place at the moment. Sorry. So Hadjar was 4.
If you did this in order, you wouldn't have these problems.
I'm sorry. My colours have thrown me out here. Hadjar has taken 4 points. He's in 2nd place on 135. 3rd place is Ocon, can you believe it or not, with 15 points this week, and he takes home 113 in total. Sainz is in 4th on 106, and then Albon leads all comers with 168, which is what? That's a 30. It's a 35, 33 point lead. So it's down to a race. What was looking like just a runaway freight train of a championship is now almost. Well, it's well on. It's well and truly on. And then if you look at Ocon in third, how did Ocon get to third? Like, when did that happen? 113 points. No, the Radars even picked him up. That is a real stealth third place. Third place at the moment. And I tell you what, I think Sainz needs to be a little bit careful too in fourth on 106, because Gasly on 91 is just there, and then Hulk as well, 86. So yeah, it's on for all places all of a sudden in F1.5. So that's our standings, boys, for F1.5 at the almost. What are we? Are we at the halfway mark this year or not?
No,
we're at the almost. Not
only
close
10 races into a 24 race season.
Almost to the point of almost being at the halfway front. It's like Christmas Eve.
We're almost at the eve.
Almost at the eve of the almost. Of the eve.
Yeah, that's catchy. You should put that on a t-shirt.
I should put it on a t-shirt. That'd be great.
Fantasy, thanks to Dr. Auto Art. What we've done the King's birthday weekend now. What's
we have
next?
done King's birthday weekend. Today is National Eat Your Vegetables Day. So if you know someone who loves vegetables,
and you want to show them, I'll tell you what you should do. This is the link for this one. Lewis Hamilton loves his veggies.
He doesn't like groundhogs.
He does. That's the problem. He doesn't want to eat them. So Lewis Hamilton loves his veggies. So you should go and get a Lewis Hamilton Dr. Auto Art
vegetable
artwork.
Like a banana with a Lewis helmet.
And then you just put him on the wall as like the vegetable-loving man.
Holding a cucumber.
Or like a little broccoli in like a Ferrari set. Anyway, if you know someone who loves to eat their vegetables and you want to show them that love, get over to Chris at Dr. Auto Art on his Facebook, Instagram, Redbubble, and check out his spectacular artworks. Fantasy for this week. I am looking forward to this segment as always, Shane.
So am I.
You are too. And thank goodness 2/3 of us are.
No!
Because Canada has delivered like no other round for the round ranking just for Canada. Looks a little bit like this. Declan Carr takes home the win in our fantasy league with 213 points. Jessica Frazier, that's very unusually spelled. Frazier. I feel like it would be French.
For sure.
There's no accent above the E. In second place on 211, Tommy Wilson in third place on 196. Aaron Rodgers, 183 in fourth. Jordan Pankraz in fifth on 182. Shane, you in sixth position.
That's huge.
On 181, followed closely by my good self on 176. Tied with Robert Santos, Simon Legman with 175, Taylor Keith, and Jay on 174.
What's he?
So everyone.
Not
everyone.
Hang on, not quite everyone.
Except for you. So I'll just play some elevator music. There we are. 38th position for you.
Oh, that's okay.
On 110. That's not okay. We're all in the top 10. 110 points for you. And Chris at Dr. Auto Art, he's pegged you back there. Thank you, Chris. He was in 40th, just under you.
Have we seen Sam?
Have we seen Sam?
No,
we go. There he is, 46.
Where's Sam on
46th place on 97. So that's absolutely nothing to write home about either.
Mine won't go past 40th.
Well, that's probably because you don't really want to live in that space there. And anyway, I brought in Fernando like most people did, and I think he's the grab of the round so far because he would have netted you 22 points.
Bit slow on that one. I got him the week before, in actual fact.
That's good, and that's why you're all the way down there. So anyway, if we look at our title race so far in the top 10 and ourselves, we need to find where we are as well for this one, fellas. Jolyon Dyer leads all comers on 2,295. David Rojas closing in on 2,236. Dean Holt in third, 2,152. Followed by Andy Tales and Nicola Taylor. Declan Carr in sixth, tied with Roman Merrick on 2072. Chloe Anderson, Richard Davies, and Emily Brunton rounds out the top 10 on 1968. I am now in front of you.
I'll notice that.
Which makes me feel very good. On 1,905, I'm in 20th position. So I'm actually feeling really good here at the moment because I'm only 25 points off. No, not even that. About 60 points off the top 10, to be quite honest. And I've still got my boost, like my triple point thing ready to go. So maybe the top 10 is not beyond our reach this year. But yeah, you're in 22nd. So you had a lead, and I've skipped away from you by about 40 points, 39 to be exact. You're in 22nd place, my friend, on 1866. That's not too bad. It's not too bad from you. Where are you, Sam? As we scroll, sorry, Shane, as we scroll all the way down.
Remember, mine wouldn't go past 40.
That's right. I'll scroll down a little bit more. There you are, 42nd. You
I
are in.
only just missed out on seeing it.
Yeah, 1578 is where you are, and if we're looking for where Shane is, if we go all the way.
Sam.
Sam. Sorry.
Keep going.
50th place for Sam on
Lord.
1335. So that's probably why he's not here this week. I mean, I know he said he had some sort of work-related commitment, but if I was in 50th place for fantasy, I would also look for a reason not to be here.
It's a good point.
As well. So anyway, that is fantasy for this round, and thanks to everyone. Thanks to Chris as well. Just of a note,
Yes.
here are just some other national days that might tickle your fancy. It's National Wear Blue Day.
Today?
Yeah, you wearing anything blue? Blue beanie?
Yes, I'm
National-
generally wearing blue.
It's also National Cherry Tart Day.
Don't know if I've ever had a cherry tart.
There you go. Today's the day for it, obviously. It's World Sauntering Day.
What's a saunter?
It's like a swagger, isn't it? You walk, saunter down
I
slowly.
don't know. Yep.
He was sauntering down the runway.
It's National Watch Day as well. So if you want to show some love to your watch.
Oh, I thought it was if you wanted to watch someone.
If you want to appreciate the timepiece on your hand, just love your watch. It's so that is they are just some of your other ones. Some of the other.
I wonder if you can
national
just
days.
register a day. Sounds like it.
What day would you register? Actually,
National
that's-
Bald Person's Day.
No, I have a lot of hair, so that wouldn't apply to me.
You're the only one here that has a lot of hair.
I'm in between.
You've had a trim. I noticed when I arrived that you had a trim.
Yeah, looking suave. I've sauntered over to say hello.
And I nearly mentioned it, but then a little part of me caught myself, and I thought every time Carly has a haircut, I don't notice.
And so it'd be weird if you
So
noticed
it'd be weird,
me,
but I noticed
not
I
your
noticed
wonderful partner.
yours as
I would
soon
send her a
as I
message straight
walked
away
in.
and say, "Hey, guess what?"
From the door.
He noticed straight away.
I was like, "Oh, he's had a haircut," but then I thought,
looking good.
I'm looking good, but I didn't want to mention it because I thought that was a bit weird. But,
I appreciate it.
I noticed. I will see. You know what I'll do when I go home now? I'll just start saying like, "Oh, have you done something with your hair?" And she won't have.
And then you're
And
in
then
trouble.
I'll look like a clown. For
And you're in trouble.
Just
And
overly.
probably so you
mentioning
should
it a
be.
lot. Anyway.
All right, we're getting into Austria in 2 weeks' time. It's
Yes.
not a one into the next, which is very strange for this season.
Well, this is why
isn't
I
it?
got.
Yeah, so we've got a week off, and then we're into Austria, but then it's to Great Britain.
Is there a
Silverstone.
triple header again?
Yes, it is. We go Austria, we go Silverstone, and then we go
Spa.
Ah,
It's a beautiful little. It is a beautiful combination, isn't it?
It is a terrific combo for 3 tracks in a row. Like, if you want to watch 3 tracks in a row, like, they are fantastic choices.
Yeah.
I love the Red Bull Ring.
It's cool, isn't it?
Like, legitimately.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep,
geez, I
it
love
is cool.
It's so good.
What's your predictions for the Red Bull Ring?
Red Bull Ring. Can we go? I'm going to go a little bit. Do we want to go early and just go all 3?
As in, like,
Just go
top
1, 2,
3?
3. Like, let's just go winners for the next 3 rounds. We've pumped up the next 3 rounds. Let's back in winners for the next 3.
It's not a triple header, by the way.
No, I know, but let's
Oh,
just like
okay.
let's just
So
do
it's
it.
Austria and Great Britain.
Yep.
After a week off, and then we've got like 2 weeks off
All right.
before Belgium
Well, I'm going to go Max at home.
in Austria.
Yep.
Hang on, is that his home?
That's not a triple header.
No, but I mean like
No.
Red Bulls. Sorry.
Red Bull.
Oh, right.
Like
okay,
his
the
second
Red Bull
home.
home,
Like his
yep.
second home. So
Yep.
Max at home in air quotes. Max at home. Lando at home.
Okay. Ooh. Not bad, I don't mind that.
And then I'm going to go Oscar in Spa.
Oh, okay. There you go. That makes for a good championship. I'm enjoying that championship.
I like it. I happily see Oscar in second and third for the other 2, but yeah, just
Shane?
I'm going Max in Austria, but I'm going Oscar.
Oscar.
I'm hoping anyway.
doing a bit of a Mark Webber at
Yeah, I'm gonna go Oscar at Austria. I was close to going for a Charles. Charles tends to go okay there, doesn't he? But yeah, no, Oscar at Austria. George at Great Britain. And in Belgium, back to Oscar.
Belgium. Okay.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Cool.
Any news that you want to mention? Anything else?
Red Bull protest was thrown out.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, the protest was thrown out
Suki
there. A little bit of comment. Very strong comments from Toto Wolff and Christian Horner this afternoon. At the
really?
Yeah, just really. Like, Toto was very annoyed with the actual protest in itself. It was quite petulant and petty.
Yeah, and what about, did Horner respond? Or?
Yeah, it was just sort of, well, we saw something we didn't quite like. Because they made 2 protests, and they dropped one.
One for erratic driving and one for being too far back.
Yeah. So they dropped, I think it was the erratic driving is the one that they dropped. And then he said, hey, look, we saw something we didn't like. We're well within our rights to protest. We're okay with that. And then Toto's initial response was sort of, well, it took him 2 hours to even find a protest.
Didn't tell Max.
No, but then one of Toto's comments where I was just like, oh, it's a little bit sort of, I'm not a fan of that one, saying that like we do our winning on the track and you lose on the track, and then it shouldn't go any further than that. And I thought, I could think of plenty of times that Mercedes have done exactly what Red Bull have done there.
Do you think so?
Oh, yeah, I think
so.
So
Red Bull do have a history of doing this sort of thing.
They do. I think Mercedes do as well. Anyway, it was just, I thought, just be careful with that one. Like, fair comment, like nothing untoward, but he was upset. And
it was pathetic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was sort of. I think they bought into that whole let's look at getting Max a penalty point to get a ban. But then Red Bull have probably tried to protect their driver and just go, oh well, if you're gonna play silly buggers with doing something.
Yeah,
that looked,
it certainly helped that it was George, I reckon, in the Mercedes.
Yes, I think so too. It looked, just from the outside looking in, that maybe he might have had a go at doing that. But they're probably doing, as I said, protecting their driver and go, no, if you're going to do that, we're going to throw a protest at you.
I would have laughed if it had to turn around and they gave Max the penalty for overtaking under behind safety car.
It could have gone that way.
It could have, and it possibly should have.
And that's probably why they've just gone, no, just play on.
No, but they didn't. Oh, in terms of the FIA.
FIA have just gone, go away.
Do you think that Max should be annoyed that Lando didn't get any penalty points for his crash?
Yes, absolutely he should. Absolutely he should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That seems ridiculous. I mean, there was no... Maybe I'm going to contradict myself now, actually, now I think about it. There wasn't any intent of dangerous driving. It was a pure mistake, which I think is what got him off. So maybe
we've seen instances in past where a collision has been caused, a driver has received a penalty, and that's where it sort of falls to me. If you are going to apply the 5-second penalty, more often than not, if you are receiving a post-race penalty, then along with that comes a single point or something like that.
That's true.
That is the general order of operation, and that's why.
Yep.
I think
should the penalty carry over, the 5-second penalty carry over the next race as a grid penalty?
I mean,
possibly a grid penalty.
Technically, it kind of shouldn't it? Because he can't.
I don't understand how. Well,
he can't serve it.
They considered him a finisher, I think, because he raced to whatever
only 3 laps short or whatever. Yeah,
so that's how he gets away with it, because they can apply it to this race.
Would you not consider a finisher a person that takes a checkered flag?
You're the one who gives points to people who don't finish races.
What?
And 5 points for people.
Yeah.
But that's my championship that I've invented. They're my rules.
Yes, which feels like...
But that's why I think...
I feel like there should have been a carryover penalty, and there should have been penalty points.
It's a little bit, for me, an example of the max tax that we get. That if that was max... he'd have penalty points. Like, he really would. But
I wouldn't have given him points. I wouldn't have given him a penalty.
No,
I thought it was a racing incident.
God, what Max even got? What was the 1 point he got?
If he took Oscar out, I'd be like, yep, you have to penalise it. Yep. I felt like they didn't really need to penalise him as such.
Yeah, I think they've not followed their operational.
But if you're going to give a penalty, it's got to be something that's
that is
relevant.
A penalty.
It's not a penalty.
Not a symbolic penalty.
Okay, let's do the bloke sitting on the side of the road giving 5-second penalty.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't have given the penalty. I would have just said, it's a racing incident. It was a mistake. There was no malintent. It wasn't dangerous.
Because Lawson had that real ridiculous one going back 4 or 5 years now, where he had a 50 place grid penalty. Like, what's the point of continuing to apply 30 more grid paces that don't exist?
Yep.
Well, on that one, should that one be something where it gets carried over every race until he's used up 50 spots? So it might be 10 spots this race.
Yeah, that's not bad.
10 race spots the next race.
God, that would be...
Doesn't
that would do you in big time, wouldn't
doesn't
it?
Jenson Button still have a 5?
Oh,
Button's
yeah,
still got a
does.
5-place grid penalty. I think Valtteri has
yes.
also got, because there was talks of him taking that caddy seat, but if he does take that caddy seat in his first race, he has to serve his last penalty from Sauber.
That's good.
So that's
the Alonso in the McLaren days, he'd still be serving penalties.
God, I think those boys are mentally serving penalties, emotionally. Well.
Wonderful. All right, well, have a listen out for Fan Frenzy. That'll be out in the coming days as well. We've got a week off, and then we'll be off to Austria, the beautiful Austria, and we'll be back after that. But until then, goodbye.